We live in an era that is completely obsessed with optimization. We track our sleep, we measure our macros, we constantly chase mental clarity. But what if the very things we're doing to heal our bodies are actually keeping us stuck in this endless loop of burnout and brain fog? Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to fundamentally shift how we look at health, stress, and frankly, the human body.
Because let's be honest, you probably know the exact feeling I'm talking about. You wake up tired, your stomach is tight, you're taking literally all the right supplements, but you still just feel awful. And it leads us to a pretty pivotal question. Why does healthy eating feel so exhausting? You get caught in this cycle, right? You experience bloating or cognitive fatigue, so you decide to restrict your diet even further. You cut out gluten, dairy, sugar, hoping for some sort of breakthrough. But instead of feeling energized and clear-headed, you just feel depleted, anxious, and disconnected. The modern wellness industry tells us that the perfect dietary protocol is going to fix everything. But the science? Well, the science tells a very different, far more fascinating story.
Here's the truth. Modern neuroscience has completely shattered the illusion that restrictive diets alone are going to fix your gut and your energy levels. It genuinely doesn't matter how perfectly you curate your grocery list if your nervous system is trapped in survival mode. Food is just one piece of the puzzle. Your body's ability to actually digest, absorb, and utilize that food is entirely dependent on your baseline level of stress. Put simply, you cannot out-diet chronic stress. Period.
Section 1. The Wellness Treadmill Trap. It is actually kind of wild how many popular wellness trends out there completely lack strong clinical data. They just distract us from the real root cause of our fatigue. Take seed cycling, for instance, or those 14-day hormone resets everyone talks about online. The endocrine system simply doesn't work like that. It responds to biological patterns over months and years, not weeks. And the idea of a cortisol detox? Honestly, your liver and kidneys handle detoxing continuously. You don't need an expensive cleanse, you literally just need less stress. Even clinically valid short-term diets, like low FODMAP, are widely misused. If you strictly adhere to it long-term without reintroducing foods, you can severely reduce your gut's microbial diversity.
Section 2. Your brain in survival mode.
So, if the diets aren't the answer, what is? Well, your physical symptoms are actually highly successful evolutionary adaptations to an unnatural, chronically stressful modern environment. This is all explained by polyvagal theory. Basically, your autonomic nervous system doesn't just react to immediate physical danger. It is constantly, and I mean constantly, operating in the background, scanning your daily life. It's scanning your email inbox, your morning commute, your social interactions, all for cues of threat. And when it detects danger, it fundamentally alters your physiology to keep you alive. This threat detection builds into 3 distinct states. First, there's ventral vagal. This is where we thrive. You're safe, connected, your heart rate is calm, your mind is sharp, and your body actually feels safe enough to digest food. But when work deadlines or social pressures mount, you shift into sympathetic, that fight or flight mode. Blood is literally diverted away from your stomach to your limbs. And if that stress becomes overwhelming or inescapable, you drop into the dorsal vagal state, shutdown. This is where you get emotional numbness, profound brain fog, and a digestive system that just grinds to a halt. Being stuck in survival mode physically alters your entire gastrointestinal tract. You might find yourself skipping meals in a sympathetic state or completely losing your hunger cues in dorsal vagal shutdown because your digestive enzymes drop and your brain and gut actually become disconnected. So listen to me on this. Your disordered eating habits or persistent bloating aren't a moral failing. They aren't a lack of willpower. They are direct biological consequences of a nervous system that does not feel safe. And you can't simply think your way out of it either. Top-down therapies like talk therapy are incredibly valuable, but they rely on the logical thinking part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex. The problem is, when you are trapped in a fight, flight, or freeze state, that part of your brain is essentially offline. We have to use bottom-up therapy. Because survival responses originate deep in the brainstem, we have to start with the body to establish physical, somatic safety before we can even begin to reason with the mind.
Which brings us to Section 3, the vagus nerve superhighway. So how exactly do we signal that safety to our gut? Through the vagus nerve. It's the longest cranial nerve we have and the primary physical conduit of the gut-brain axis. It functions as a bidirectional sixth sense. Since 80% of its fibers are sensory, it's constantly monitoring the biochemical microenvironment of your GI tract and firing that analog real-time data straight up to your brain. Your gut literally is a second brain.
Just think about serotonin for a second, our primary hormone for happiness and mood regulation. A staggering 90% of your body's serotonin is manufactured directly inside your digestive tract. When your microbiome is balanced and your nervous system is in that ventral vagal state of safety, your gut acts like a literal factory for emotional resilience. If your gut is inflamed from chronic stress, your mental health takes a direct hit. Add to that the fact that 50% of your dopamine, the reward and pleasure hormone, is also synthesized right there in the gut. This profound gut-brain crosstalk explains exactly why, when you're burnt out, your motivation and your ability to focus just completely plummet. That cognitive fatigue isn't just in your head, it is chemically rooted in your digestive tract. Section 4. Why diets fail stressed bodies. Because of this deep connection, strict diets completely fail bodies that are trapped in chronic stress. The wellness media loves the term hormone balance, but clankly, that's just a metaphor. Hormones do not sit on a tidy little scale waiting to be balanced by a supplement. They naturally rise and fall in complex rhythms. But when cortisol, your primary stress hormone, stays elevated for long stretches, your body perceives survival as urgent. It immediately downgrades less urgent functions, disrupting your thyroid and pushing your reproductive system right to the bottom of the priority list. There is a harsh but incredibly necessary truth we need to face from the source material. You cannot eat your way out of chronic undersleeping and chronic stress. Non-food interventions aren't just optional, nice-to-have additions to your wellness routine. They are completely load-bearing pillars of your health. Food is powerful, yes, but it can't carry the whole load. If you're sleeping 5 hours a night and living in hypervigilance, no amount of organic kale or high-end probiotics is going to override your body's biological panic alarms. Section 5. Bottom-up nervous system regulation. So instead of pursuing yet another restrictive diet, let's pivot. Take a deep, meditative breath with me right now. Really. Because digestion actually begins in the brain via the cephalic phase. If you eat while frantically answering emails or reading stressful news, your parasympathetic rest and digest system stays offline. Your body suppresses the enzymes needed to break down your meal, and you literally won't absorb the nutrients. We have to actively engage that system using vagus nerve stimulation techniques. Things like deep, slow diaphragmatic breathing, splashing cold water on your face, or even just humming or singing. These aren't just fluffy feel-good tips. They are neuroscience-backed mechanisms for lowering your heart rate and dampening inflammation. Mindful eating without screens, prioritizing 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep, connecting with safe friends, these actions biochemically tell your body it is safe enough to metabolize your food. Section 6. Nourishing your second brain. Once that nervous system is finally regulated, then we can focus on the food. And we do it with a realistic, shame-free daily plate. Half non-starchy veggies or fruits for fiber, a quarter protein to synthesize those crucial neurotransmitters, and a quarter smart carbs for steady brain fuel, plus a source of healthy fat. It's not about rigid perfection. It's about providing the exact raw materials your brain and gut need to communicate without spiking cortisol. This is where modern longevity meets intuitive eating. Aim for 30 different plants a week to build microbiome diversity, but also practice the 80-20 rule. 80% whole foods, 20% pure enjoyment. Because you know what? The guilt and hypervigilance of trying to be a perfect eater actually triggers the exact cortisol release that causes metabolic distress in the first place. Instead, connect with your food. Savor the textures. Chew slowly. Practice body neutrality, respecting your body's brilliant survival mechanisms rather than punishing it for the symptoms of chronic stress. Ultimately, I want to leave you with this provocative truth. What if your body isn't broken, but just waiting to feel safe? Your bloating, your fatigue, that awful brain fog, they aren't moral failings. They are an invitation to finally create safety from the bottom up. Your body has been performing brilliantly, prioritizing your survival in a world that constantly demands way too much. True mental clarity and optimal longevity don't come from out-dieting your biology. They come from understanding it, listening to it, and giving your nervous system the profound permission it actually needs to rest, digest, and heal.